still a great saw. It's got to where, some of my videos you might even notice it. I'll make the cut and then it'll stop. It's not cheap. So, like it doesn't break, it doesn't slow down at all. We'll see what takes it. I mean, in the future, I'll probably open with a lot. Maybe with a Kita. I'm sure I mean, look at that. Look at it on the left. Those are good. I've been to a few of the deals lately where Lowe's and Home Depot, somebody's carrying out into the last check that. Probably for something to take this and I can get in the garage for a slight that would probably be what I would want. Anyway, we'd love to see you guys, what you've gotten, what you've had success with, what you like. I'd like to give you a comment. A couple of questions here. Somebody retracted the message. Do you know how to program? Do I know how to program what? As far as programming languages, well, it's been a while. I guess I do. I mean, when I was in college, obviously this was many years ago. This was back in the late 80s, mid to late 80s. We had to take Fortran, we took assembler, we took COBOL, we did all that. And then working on my master's degree later on, I had to take Pascal, took Visual Basic. And of course, I did a lot of Windows Server work here and there for years. So, that was all PowerShell. But honestly, at this point, I don't program, I don't script, I don't do anything. I've moved into leadership at work now, so now my days are spent in Teams, email, approving things, PowerPoint, Excel. The Microsoft Office suite has become my programming of choice now. Another question, somebody to say hello. Well, hello to you. Thank you guys for joining. Got a couple of people watching now. I appreciate that. Again, honestly, it's probably more than I expected. So, we'll move on to the next tool. So, after we had built our, got in the house, we had put up crown molding. We decided we want to build a headboard and a footboard for the bed. I was trying to use cut some dados. I didn't have a router at the time, so I ended up buying I got it after Christmas one year for like $99. It was a Craftsman contractor saw, and honestly, it worked great. I was actually kind of surprised how well it worked at the time for $99. And I bought I don't remember the brand, but I bought a dado set for it. So I could, make dados and put the bed frame together, the headboard and footboard. It actually worked out pretty well. And I used that saw up until probably so I bought it probably 2001, 2002, and I used it up through 2015, 2016. And, it was just one of those things that the T-track on it, or the slot was just horrible. It was this weird, very specific T-track. You couldn't buy generic tools and have it work in there. You had to get either, I would say you try to buy your own track, but I couldn't find anybody to sell it. So I ended up making my own numerous times out of some walnut or some kind of hardwood. But even then, it's like I would get the blade squared up to the fence, and I swear next time I was cutting something, it would have lost square, and I was all, back to ground zero. And there was a couple of times it felt so off that, it really felt like I was about to get kicked back just because the blade wasn't squared with the fence very good. So, I had probably a couple of close calls with it. Honestly, not, the saw's fault, just me not paying attention. And so, when I was looking to upgrade in 2015, I went ahead and I'd seen the saw stop and always wanted one. They just seemed a bit pricey. But I decided it was worth it to go ahead and get it. And this saw has been perfect. I mean, I pulled it out of the box and I went through their check on, making sure the blade and the fence were true. I mean, it was dead on right out of the box. I didn't even have to adjust it at all. And I've checked it numerous times since then, and it has never gotten out of alignment. And the fence to me is kind of a weird design. I was surprised on how good it works, but it has worked great. So, I'm not going to mess with it. I would love to have a bigger saw. This saw, the same reason I talk about the miter saw over there being on a fold-up stand. That's the reason I wanted this one. In fact, the guy at Rockwell even told me, you're not going to want this saw. You're going to want to step up to the next model. It wasn't that much more money, but I wanted to be able to fold this up and get it out of the way when we were in a two-car garage, so we could park in there if needed. Or like I say, if I wanted to fold it up and throw it in the truck, I could take it somewhere. I've done that numerous times. So I wanted to have that flexibility. And even here, I've taken it out when we're working on something. And I know in our old house, we were building a fence, and we were doing some trim work at the top of the fence, cutting fence boards. And so I would take it out in the yard and use it there. And it just adds some flexibility. But I don't need that now. I've got a dedicated space. I'm not in a two-car garage anymore. This is a 20 by 30 metal building. I've got kind of my area dedicated around here for the shop. So I could definitely tolerate a little bit bigger saw. I mean, I definitely don't want a monster or anything, but I wouldn't mind having something a little more, with a nicer fence. Although this one works, it is what it is. It just, it's actually, let's say, truer than I thought it would be for what it is. But it's kind of an odd design, so I would love to move up to something else. But, all in all, I love this saw. This has been one of my favorite purchases. And most of the tools you're going to see in here were relatively cheap. They were gotten when I didn't have a lot of money to spend. This saw probably was, or probably is, the most expensive tool I've ever bought. But again, I was paying for the flesh detecting technology more than anything. Although the saw itself is great, I think I could have got a saw just about the same quality for probably a fraction of the price I paid for the saw side. But again, I don't regret it. I've only tripped the brake once, and that was on some treated wood that was a little bit wet on the inside still. It tripped the brake, so I had to replace it then. And then, last year working on a project, the saw just quit, and it was the issue with the brake. But SawStop, I sent it back to SawStop for evaluation, and they sent me a new brake. So I've actually got a spare now because I had to buy one to get up and running again. But once they got the saw, I did some evaluation on it. They went ahead and sent me a new one. Lathe. I'm not a big lathe person. My wife got me this for our 50th, or for my 50th birthday. And it's a great saw. It's a great lathe. It's worked great. I was learning how to use it before we moved out here from our old house. And, I'd gotten decent at it. I'm still not a great wood turner by any means. But it is fun. It's once you get over that initial scare of having to take a tool and stick it into a turning piece of wood, it is really fun. So I definitely want to get back into it. It's just been, up until the last month or so, this shop has been such a mess, I really couldn't even think about trying to do anything out here. Building wise, I have, but I have to push everything over to one side, and then when I need to get over there, I bring everything back. So it takes so much time. I finally got things cleaned up. I built this wall for my storage tubs up here. Got a big chunk of stuff. I mean, I still got more things I need to get off the floor, but that helped me get most things off the floor right there. So that has helped me clean up this area, tremendously. But again, the lathe, it needs some cleanup, right? When we moved from our house in the suburbs, we came out here. This was in a storage building that wasn't temperature, humidity controlled, so definitely got some rust there I need to clean up in a few spots, but nothing that's bad enough that's going to cause impact, but I definitely want to get it cleaned up. And even now, I mean, I'm here in North Texas, and it'll be 30 degrees sometimes in the morning and 80 degrees in the afternoon, and temperature swings like that definitely are going to give you some humidity problems. So ideally I would get this thing spray foamed, and that's one of my goals, is to get this completely spray foamed. But it's going to be a bit. That's, the quotes I've gotten were pretty high. I've been considering doing some, bake-offs from the DIY kits you get on Amazon, buying like 10 different brands of the single kit, single cans, and trying them and, see what I get from there. And, I tried to get a couple of the the spray foam manufacturers to sponsor me and send me some product, let me try it, but I'm sure they get that request quite a bit. I haven't had much success with that. But. And let me move this out of the way. Router table, if I remember right, I got this router table from Grizzly a few years ago, and it works great. I've got an old Ryobi router in here that I really never use anymore, and I've got my rigid router, which is a beast of a router. But the thing is that the thing I've hated about it is the plunge part of it is horrible. It takes a tremendous amount of force to push it down and plunge it, and it just feels like it's very clunky, and I end up missing what I'm trying to hit with it. And I had a problem trying to get a bit out a while back, and I've got it jammed in this, is it collar? The plunge collar. I can't get it out. I think I'm going to have to cut the plunge collar off to get it off the router. Then I'll probably put it back in the table and just make this router be strictly for the router table. That'll give me the ability to leave this one in there, but of course then I'll need to get another router to use for plunging. And something else I would love to hear some opinions on. You guys like Bosch routers, or if you like DeWalt routers or whatever, I would love to hear your opinion. But overall, the table works great. I've used it quite a bit. It's nothing spectacular, but for what I paid for it was much of nothing. I think it was $150 at the time. I don't believe it may have came with the stand. I don't even remember now if that came with it or if that's something I added on separately. But then the last product on that side of the shop is just this old Craftsman scroll saw. Bought this, I would say, on Facebook Marketplace, but it was probably before Marketplace really got going. So it was probably just one of the online sell forums that were around for the area we lived. I think I paid $40 for it or something. Some guy bought it and never really used it. And honestly, I've never scrolled with it. I have tried a few times and made a few things, but it just wasn't something I enjoyed that much. I have used it to cut a few smaller pieces of wood. I don't have a bandsaw. So if there's something I need to cut that's hard to hold and cut with a hand saw, or it's too small to use with the table saw or the miter saw, I might go ahead and use this. But it's been a good tool for the price I paid for it, for sure. You can't complain. Let's see what else we got. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and talk about the French cleat wall here while we're on this side. So some of these holders go back to the early mid-2000s, and this was back before I even knew about YouTube, finding some of those. I used to go to the library in the town we were in, and they had a huge amount of books that were all about DIY, about shop furniture, shop storage, things like that. And I didn't really subscribe to many magazines. There wasn't a lot of videos, so I would just simply go buy those books and thumb through them while we're watching TV or whatever. And one of the things they always talked about was having a French cleat wall. And so I went ahead and created a wall out here too. I had pretty much a small space. I think it had three cleats on it in my other house. So I've added quite a bit more. We've added some new holders, some of the same ones here. And for Christmas this year, my son got me the adapters to use the old style DeWalt tools with the new batteries. So I've got old drills and impact drivers and lights and things. I need to go ahead and get holders made for those. So I'll get to working on that. But for now, I'm just trying to get more things up here. This definitely helped me organize and get things off the floor. Just having and I know it's kind of a weird thing. I've got a French cleat wall, but I've also got a pegboard on the French cleat. But again, it's just a way for me to organize. And I've got another, of course, pegboard over here, and I could easily, go ahead and scoot that over and put another pegboard here and do this whole wall in pegboard. There's no reason to have it mobile, but it's just easy right now to put it up there. But once I get this wall spray foamed, I'll probably come back and cover the whole wall with pegboard, just so I can get more stuff up there, and then that would free up more space on cleat wall. Of course, I've got the little TV up there. I guess you guys can see that. It's usually some kind of YouTube stuff going on, unless there's a game on I'm wanting to watch when I'm out here. Of course, you know, the big deal out here is I've got my side-by-side stored out here in the garage. So this takes a good, 10 feet of it or so anyway, but I just don't like leaving it outside. See way too many reports of side-by-sides walking away, so I want to make sure I keep it locked up in here so it doesn't go away. Of course, it's kind of became a flat surface here to have stuff stored on it, but got an old jointer here that was given to me by a friend, and actually it was given to him, I believe. It's an old Powercraft from Montgomery Ward's, 6 1/8 inch jointer. I know the motor works. That's about the most I've done with it, is turn it on and see that the motor actually works. But outside of that, it needs some new blades, of course, and it's rusty as everything. It would need to be cleaned up. And, you know, it feels a little sketchy to me, maybe just because of the age, but I'm not sure I'm willing to risk my, my limbs with it. But, you know, depending on the piece, I might would be comfortable joining something with it. So I haven't gotten rid of it. I'm keeping it. It definitely needs some cleaning and some replacement parts, but I'll get around to that eventually. So this drill press I bought at Lowe's. I'm trying to think. I've been looking for a drill press. I was actually wanting a stand, a tall stand one, instead of a bench top. But I found this. It was on clearance at Lowe's many years ago. It's GMC, Global Machinery Company. I believe this was one of the cheaper tool brands that Lowe's had for a while, and I guess they were getting out of that market and quitting selling them. And I think I picked it up for $35, $45, something like that. Of course, some rust issues, just like a lot of stuff in here, but it's a beast of a tool. Used it forever. Built a little top for it just so I can have some T-track to hold down stuff. Works great, and I actually broke the handle on it. I was taking it to the school where my daughter was at, and we were working on some band props, and it fell over and broke the handle. A good friend of mine welded it back together for me, and I was able to spray paint it, make it match, and then I dipped the handles in the, I don't know what you call it, the little rubbery stuff that comes in the can that's used for tools. So, and amazingly, that was probably 10 years ago, and it's still, you can't, that hasn't cracked or hasn't had any issues. So, like I said, that may be what I do with the miter saw knob that's kind of rotting away. Of course, I got a piece of railroad track here I use as my anvil. I've seen the videos on YouTube where the people take and make an actual, they take plywood and cut out and make like a holder for this, put handles on it so you can grab it on each end and carry it where you want it. And I really want to do that. Now this is heavy. I think the one they were doing, the thing with on YouTube was probably about half this long. But this thing is crazy heavy. But the good thing is, once it's somewhere, it's very sturdy. It's just hard to move. But if I'm needing to work on something outside, it is a definite pain to carry it without handles. So I would like to have a handle on each end so I can grab it and take it with me. This is an old grinder. It was my dad's. I think I gave it to him for his birthday or Christmas or something one time. But he only used it. The only time I ever remember him using this was to sharpen his mower blades. And honestly, that's about all I do with it too. So can't complain too much about that. But this, speaking of my dad, this vise came from my dad's house. I grew up with this vise being out at an outdoor shop at our house. And, I think I probably held my BB gun in a vise to sight it in. Who knows what all I did with this vise. I think I held my bike in it a few times when I was trying to get some parts, fixed on the bike or whatever. But this thing was completely rusted out. There was almost no color left, and I pulled it apart, cleaned everything. This was polished again. The red looked really good, and now it's gotten kind of beat up again. I'm not sure if I'll clean it up again or not. I mean, it's definitely workable. I did get at least all the parts working. Everything was frozen up before and wouldn't work, but I did at least get that fixed before I painted it. So we're a good point there. Craig jig. That's probably my joinery of choice. It's an easy way to join stuff. Even outdoors, I just use the outdoor screws. But I do a lot of stuff indoors with it. I built this thing right after I got it. It's not, I know they have a plan for one. This isn't the one like that they have. I kind of made this one myself, and you know, it works great. And I used to be able to just hold a few screws that I had in here, but now I've just got extra bits and extra parts in there. I've got way too many screws to fit in there. I probably need to design a new holder and retire that one. You know how it is, it's one of those things, I made it and then I actually made the holder for the dust collector back here, but you drop it in and once you do, then your drawer doesn't open or close. There's a few things I didn't think about very well when I was making it, so anyway. All right, well, that pretty much wraps up the shop tour for today. I appreciate you guys watching. I would love to hear your comments. I think I talked about the comments I already had. Like I say, we had one that was retracted. Not sure what that said. I'll see if I can watch that during the, if I can see that comment during the replay. But anyway, for now, I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.